Hi, this is Mike Palmer from Mike Palmer Homes. Just making another video log here of a project we have going. I think I'm going to call this what a footing is supposed to look like, because we've just had a footing dug and completed by our good friends over at Henkel's Grading, and they really did a beautiful job. So I want to point out some of the things here that really pleased me to see. Number one, we passed inspection first try. That's always good. Concrete's going to be coming soon. And the building inspector just left, but some of the things I want to point out here. If you look at this footing, well, what a footing is, it's a trench in the ground. It's dug down to virgin soil where it's got the appropriate load-bearing capacity. They pour it full of concrete, and then we put our cinder block on top of it and build your foundation. A few things to look at. Corners are nice and square. It's actually a nice and neat, as footings go, our lines are nice and straight. If you look down, dug nice and straight. The things we look for. If you look here on the side, you can see where they use a mini excavator, a backhoe, and the teeth on the bucket. When they hit the side there, when you start to see that nice smooth line, that's nice smooth dirt, you know you've hit the load-bearing capacity. So you have to get down below the organics, below the soft dirt on top, and when you see that, you know that's where you are. That's your telltale sign. And you see some gaps there. Once the gaps in the soil and it's all nice and solid, nice and compact, that's what we want to see. And the inspector comes with a probe and probes it. These stakes here, these rebar stakes, they're grade stakes. That tells us the height of our concrete, how thick we're going to pour it. So when they pour the concrete, and they can get it nice and smooth. These pieces of wood here are called bulkheads. The ground slopes down, so after a certain point we overlap it, we put a bulkhead and we step it down. Each step is 8 inches, which is the height of a cinder block or 3 bricks. The top is nice and level. They've staked it into the ground nice and securely. These come off after the concrete hardens, but you want that top nice and level, and these grade stakes nice and uniform, so you have a nice smooth surface. It makes it a whole lot easier on the masons when they do their work. And if we set it up for them properly, they have a nice neat environment to work in, they do better work. It just makes it easier on them, and they feel more respected. Like around the edges, we don't see any piles of dirt. Most of the time when they dig a footing, they just dig the footing and leave the dirt out there for someone else to deal with later when we backfill. These folks over at Henkel's have piled up in a nice neat pile in the back, out of the way, so people aren't tripping over it, so the masons can work in a more comfortable environment. Now we come around here. This is going to be the entrance to our garage right here. Okay. Well, now sometimes they stop the footing right here and just leave that dirt there, but when they run it across here, I like this, especially when we have when we're going to have a lot of fall in the garage, because we have to put a lot of gravel in there to fill. Now that gravel, we don't want it to vibrate out underneath the driveway. So what we do, we build our foundation wall up here, we pour our concrete, it stops there, and it kind of seals the gravel in there so it can't spill out over time, and you don't have settling inside your garage and your slab. That's a problem that you don't want. That's why we put gravel in there, because it's 99% compact and you don't have to worry about it settling on you afterwards. We also wait until the very end. We put our gravel in now when we prep our foundation. If our foundation's built, we'll come in and put the gravel. We won't pour the concrete till the very end, until all the painters, sheetrockers, so people aren't dropping things on it and damaging. We want it as pristine as possible when we hand it over to the customer. Anyway, now these steps, we start at the high part of our foundation, right here. We may build this block up a little higher and waterproof it, because we don't want the backside of our foundation to be any higher than it has to be. Anyway, if we start here and we count the steps that we walk down, each step is 8 inches. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps. From the high part of our foundation over by the garage to the low part, that's 7 steps. That means that each step is 8 inches. That's going to be a differential of 7 cinder blocks. Now we have to have some cinder blocks come out of the ground up there, probably 3. So that would mean you need 10 cinder blocks back here, which gets awfully high. We may be stepping down the foundation. There's some different tricks we use to mitigate the effect of the topography, but we just have to work with what the lot gives us. It's all going to look fine from the front. You won't notice any of that, but this is just the thinking that we go through as builders when we do this, and the things we look for. Now, all these circular holes here, they're called piers or pilings. We fill these full of concrete. Once you can see the nice load bearing capacity at the edge, that's how they know they're deep enough. Fill these full of concrete. We're going to bring those all the way up. That's what that white line is for. All the way pretty much level with the dirt, so there's no areas where standing water could potentially accumulate, or you could have other issues. And it'll make it a lot easier to prep the foundation when the foundation prep crew comes in and puts their screenings, etc. down. But these, what's nice about these is normally they do these with a backhoe and they take a bucket and take a big old scoop out of there, and it's just hard to be precise and it's hard to be accurate. When they have these round pilings, there's a pin that can go right down into the surveyor stake, and they have a mini excavator that's on a turret, so this device spins, it drills out the dirt is contained, and they just spin the machine around and drop it on the side where they can move it for storage or dirt pile when we come back and backfill. And it just makes for a much more uniform and precise job, if that shows up on the video here. Anyway, these are the things we look for during the footing process. This one is exceptionally good. My superintendent said after we're done with these guys, we are going to be spoiled. But I just couldn't be more pleased, and we'll be pouring in a few minutes here. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please contact us at the numbers below.